from the Srimad Bhagavatam. May my tongue pronounce thy praise. May my ears absorb thy words. May my hands perform thy service. May my mind recall thy presence. May my head bow down before the cosmos, thine abode. May my eyes behold the saints whose bodies are but dedicated temples.
The Making of a Devotee, Memoir of a Western Vedanta Monk by Swami Vidyatmananda, is a literate, inspiring, and invaluable historical document. Born John Yale, he begins the memoir by describing the inner life of, quote, a bemused observer and entranced witness, unquote, to the early days of Ramakrishna-Vedanta in the West. Having joined the movement a mere 50 years after Swami Vivekananda introduced Vedanta to America, he lays out his early life with expressive freedom and frankness, the, quote, remolding, or the commencement of a drastic remodeling of my psyche, unquote, and moves on to fly-on-the-wall observations of the fascinating characters and literary celebrities who helped pioneer the movement. Yale was a disciple of Swami Prabhavananda, becoming a monk in the 1950s. His duties included, besides dishwashing, his literary work, editing the magazine Vedanta and the West, establishing the Hollywood Center's publishing, bookshop, and mail-order businesses, and writing the book A Yankee and the Swamis, a Westerner's view of the Ramakrishna Order, about his experiences in India. He took final vows of sannyas in 1964. He described the occasion of his vows of sannyas as, quote, the day of our glory, unquote, which Christopher Isherwood immortalized in his novel, A Meeting by the River. He was stationed at the Vedanta Center in Gretz, France, and served as the center's manager under Swami Ritajananda, and continued in that role after the Swami's death. Here are a few excerpts from that memoir. In chapter 6, The Devotee as Friend of Swami Vivekananda, Yale focuses on his deepening appreciation of and spiritual association with Swami Vivekananda. It began with a familiarity with Vivekananda's ideas through literature, but extended to knowing those who were actual associates of Swamiji. He also writes about his later role in the Society's acquiring the Pasadena house, where Vivekananda had stayed with the Mead sisters in 1900. This excerpt focuses on one such close associate of Swami Vivekananda, Ida Ansel, better known in Vedanta circles as Ujjvala.
Since she had spent her life as a stenographer, it was natural that she should help me with office work, to which I had been assigned. So I grew to know Ujjvala well. Ujjvala used to talk much about Swamiji, and something which interested me greatly was she possessed somewhere in the hoard of keepsakes a dozen or so unpublished lectures of Swami Vivekananda, which she had taken down in shorthand in the San Francisco area in the spring of 1900. An altogether marvelous link with Swamiji, and something which surely should be given to the world before Ujjvala should die. But Ujjvala was a procrastinator. She was aware that she had this tendency to put things off and struggled against it. Mottos urging energy and action adorned her walls and filled her notebooks. Her intentions were good, so she and I made a pact which had the effect of encouraging transcription of the lectures. Agreement was that she should not come to the office, where she loved to be because there was more excitement there than in her room, any day until after she had worked at least 2 hours on the transcriptions. Thus, Ujjwala got the work done. 13 lectures came out of those old stenography books. And as they made their appearance, clearly it was Swamiji speaking. They are now contained in Swamiji's complete works. Ujjwala had always dreamed of becoming a famous authoress. Of course, this never occurred, but with the entry of these lectures into the official canon of Vivekananda, Ujjwala became far more than a mere writer. She became a transmitter of divine writ. In Ujjwala's crowded room, there hung on a wall a framed portrait of Swamiji. It was a fairly well-known photograph taken in Alameda, California in April 1900. In it, Swamiji is shown with long hair parted in the middle and falling back to the neck, according to the style worn by some orators of the day. He is wearing a clerical coat and vest buttoned high, with a white clerical collar. There are blossoms in the background. The story of the picture was that Swamiji and several devotees were in the garden of a friend. Swamiji was lying at ease on the grass, enjoying the conversation and participating in it. Someone came who wanted to take his picture, but he didn't want to get up. Urged to do so, he stood up, just as he was, before the background of flowering vines, without turban and not posing at all. He looks as though he was about to speak. I love that picture because, it being a contemporary print and kept all those years by Ujjwala, it almost seemed a personal relic of Vivekananda's. When Ujjwala died and we distributed her possessions, this is the one inheritance I claimed. Since then, I've kept the picture near me. The eyes are wonderful. There is a compassionate look in them. As I said, he looks as though he were about to speak. Sometimes I fancy the glass is thinning. The black and white photographic paper is taking on life and depth. And what would he say if he were to speak? Perhaps, quote, "Never mind failures, they are quite natural. They are the beauty of life, these failures. What would life be without them? It would not be worth having if it were not for the struggles. Where would be the poetry of life? Never mind the struggles, the mistakes. I never heard a cow tell a lie, but it's only a cow, never a man. So never mind these failures, these little backslidings. Hold the ideal 1,000 times. And if you fail 1,000 times, make the attempt once more."
And from chapter 12, the devotee as witness to evidences of the faith, we read,
Any doubt I might have had about Ujjwala's inner condition was resolved when she died. I was present during her final hours, and I know that Ujjwala was in contact with something or someone divine in her last moments. I know that whatever she may have seemed outwardly, Ujjwala inwardly was the loving child of Swamiji and his master and brethren. The brahmachari who came into her room was, as usual, about 7 o'clock on that Monday morning, found Ujjwala in bed unconscious. She had been her usual lively self in the evening before, having especially enjoyed some chocolate fudge I had made. We had, all of us, been sitting in Swami Prabhavananda's room. Suddenly, Prabhavananda asked Ujjwala, "Ujjwala, have you become butter?" He later said that the question had come to him unexpectedly and that he had given the expression to it without quite knowing why. There was a reference to something Swami Ritajananda had told her around 1900 at Shanti Ashram, that if she worked hard in spiritual life, she could become butter. The illusion, of course, being that one's sadhana is a process of separating that which is useful and precious in one's nature from that which is worthless. To everyone's surprise, as Ujjwala by nature tended to be self-deprecating, she firmly replied, "Yes." The doctor stated that Ujjwala had a massive stroke in her sleep. I went to her room. She was very attached to me, so I know that I could rouse her if anyone could. In effect, a certain consciousness did return, only to reject my salutations, as if to say, "Now let me be. I have serious things to do, and plunged inside again. It went on like this till about noon. Then she whispered, "Mother," and tears flowed from the outside of her eyes. Swami Triyananda had once told her, "What you want, you will get. If you want entertainment, you will get entertainment. If you want mother, you will get mother." In an instant, from the dramatic change which came over her face, yes, it changed, from flesh to clay, I saw that Ujjvala had died. Swami Prabhavananda had waited gravely in his room. When I brought him the news, he said, "Her guru came for her."
The Making of a Devotee is now available on Amazon's Kindle or as a PDF download.